You are listening to KLR Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
A new year means it's time for a new home network that can keep up. With Cox Internet, you have the speed and coverage your family needs to stay connected. You'll enjoy Cox's fiber-based hybrid network with options for fast upload and download speeds. And if your household has lots of connected devices, Panoramic Wi-Fi may be the perfect fit thanks to its additional control features. Plus, with advanced security on Panoramic Wi-Fi, you'll know each connected device is securely protected 24/7. A whole world of connectivity is yours with Cox Internet. Learn more at Cox.com.
No other way to run, I guess. If you find yourself traversing around the interwebs, and it's Sunday night at 9:03 Eastern Standard Time, the only time that really matters. Get in that chat room, www.klrnradio.com/chat. You will find miscreants and mayhem makers such as myself, Ordy, Mike, M1 Evo, Andrew, guess 789. I bet that must be Rex. That's got to be somebody like that. Guys, welcome to the chat. Everybody else get in there and join chat. If you're not joining chat, you're not one of the cool kids. You got to do it. You got to do it because it makes the whole show. Welcome to Sunday Night with Alan Ray. I'm your humble host, Alan Ray. We got a lot to talk about tonight. God, there's so much crap going on. And sometimes you look at all the crap and you go, I really don't want to mess with it. I don't. How many times can you point out the stupidity of the federal government? It's maddening. Yeah, we'll have to do that a little bit tonight. But we're also going to do some other things tonight. We're going to have some fun tonight. And we are going to point out the stupidity of the government as a whole, not just the federal government, the entire thing. Yes, Andrew, you're one of the cool kids now. You're hanging out with us in the big kids chat room. Aren't you lucky? So, hey, stick around. We're going to have, like I said, we're going to have a good time, including frequencies, an official ham radio base on the moon. Maybe it's still there. I don't know. And the insanity that has gripped the climate cult. Don't go anywhere. Let's kick this off. Yeah. It's my new obsession lately. The record company. I love these guys. I listen to this all the time. Kicking it out.
I gotta get myself off the side of the road. I gotta get myself up off the side of the road. But things are looking clear as they ever been. Don't know how it'll end, but I know where to begin. Gotta get myself off the side of the road. I gotta quit lying to myself and let the truth be told. I got to quit lying to myself and let the truth be told. I woke up burned out by the sun, tired of laying still, so I'm moving along. Quit lying to myself and let the truth be told. Yes. Hey, I gotta pick myself up off the ground, Hey, I gotta pick myself up off the ground again.
That's good advice. Pick yourself up off the ground, baby. Put those big cans on. Check it all out. That's all right, Artie. You didn't miss a whole lot. You missed the record company, which is my new favorite band. I listened to them while I walked like 3 miles today. It was 50 degrees in southeastern Michigan, in the muddy, stumpy cornfields of southeastern Michigan. And me and Ava Doggo, we put in a really good walk today. Never even got as much as being a little bit cool. I stayed nice and warm. The sun was bright. It was intense. Man, it was a nice day. Nice day. And, of course, with all that fresh air and everything, you stay inside in the wintertime. We just come off of a couple of weeks of just total crap weather. We haven't seen the sun in like 3 weeks. We had 1 week that was in the single digits with wind chill factors in the negatives. Crap weather. The before that kicked in, we had a bit of a blizzard. Yeah, I'm whining. It's my show. If I want to whine, I can whine if I want to, all right? And today was just this beautiful, sunny. It gives you hope that spring may be right around the corner. This is February, so, don't get too thrilled with it because it's just going to crap on you here pretty soon. So I mentioned at the top of the show that Japan, the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, I used to laugh at that. Somewhere in this house, I have a VHS tape, right? And it's some kind of a Japanese sci-fi, where they have the Japanese Space Agency. And I remember my friend from college and I watching that, laughing, going, the Japanese Space Agency. Right. Well, they got one now. And they successfully landed what they call their smart lander for investigating the moon. Smart lander for investigating moon, otherwise known as SLIM. Them sly Japanese dogs. Let me tell you what, that's great. SLIM. SLIM landed on the moon on January 19th, 2024. Just before touchdown, SLIM released 2 smaller lunar surface probes, LEV-1 and LEV-2. LEV-2 collects data while moving on the lunar surface, and LEV-1 receives the data. Now, the JAXA Ham Radio Club, JHRC, whose call sign is JQ1ZVI, secured amateur radio license JS1, I should say, YMG. Yeah, okay. JS1YMG for LEV1, which has been transmitting Morse code on 437.41 megahertz since January 9th. The probe uses a 1-watt UHF antenna with circular polarization and is transmitting matters related to amateur business. Now, I say all of this because when this broke, Jeff, who does In the Crease, who's usually on before me, he's feeling very under the weather, so he's surviving it. He's just taking the night off and just hunkering down and getting better. Jeff, we wish all the best for you. We hope you're doing all right. He had a heck of a show Friday. Yeah, it is Sunday night. I guess he had a heck of a show last night. I'm losing it. I listened to that. There was a great juxtaposition on last night with Rick and Orty. It was a good Saturday night, and now we're touching into Sunday. But anyways, when I read that, I immediately went over to my my little ICOM IC2730 dual band, which I can't transmit on that frequency, but I can listen to it. And I just put it on there and I listened, and very, very faintly, about 4 times, I heard CW, which is Morse code. It went on, off and on quite a bit during the day, and it faded out. And, that's what radio signals do. And it went away. Well, it might not be back, and that's sad, because what they were doing was they were trying to get some information out, some CW, some data, transmit it before the lunar night took hold. Now, today, well, actually last night, I should say, last evening, another article broke, and this was from Cheyenne McDonald from Engadget. Said, against all odds, Japanese slim lander managed to turn back on more than a week after it plopped upside down onto the surface of the moon. But now it's gone dormant for the duration of the lunar night. So that basically the transmission I was hearing that slowly faded out, that's because we've reached lunar night on the moon. The Japanese Space Agency shared an image Thursday of the lander that it captured in the moon's Shiloh crater before dusk as night was encroached. So, it lasts a little bit into the lunar night, but the thing with the lunar night on the surface of the moon is it gets down to negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is a solar-powered unit. Now, they don't expect that it's going to come back to life after lunar night is over, but it just might. So they tried to kick on the communications. There was nothing there. So there you go. But there is a 1-watt ham radio station on the surface of the moon, the first one ever. So that's kind of cool. And I'm kind of, oh no, poor Jeff. He's in bed listening with the humidifier on full blast and tissues abound. He's got the dreaded man cold. Jeff, rest in peace, buddy. You probably are not going to survive this. We'll remember you fondly. Anyways, things give off frequencies. It's kind of a weird thing. When you're into the hobby that I am, ham radio hobby, and I've always been into shortwave radio, and I got more and more into SDR radio. That's how I transitioned into being a ham radio operator, because I just was talking about it. A couple people go, well, shoot, get your tech license. And it wasn't that hard. I got it a couple years ago. And then last year, early last year, I got my general license. And I haven't looked back. Actually, it was 2 years ago. Wow, it's been 2 years? Yeah, it's been 2 years. But anyways, I got my general license, and I've been going strong ever since. I've been having a blast. But you realize that everything has a frequency. Your body has a frequency, the human body. Resonant frequencies in humans, and it's important too. And there's actually studies that they do on this. The Earth gives off its own frequency. The moon gives off its frequencies. Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter at TucsonicGal65, you see that I repost solar weather all the time. But it's weird. These people did a test, and this is an abstract from Ergonomics. Yeah. Many forms of industrial illnesses are thought to result from the effects of vibration on the human body. Prolonged exposure causes undue stress and discomfort, At the human whole body resonant frequency, there's a maximum displacement between the organs and the skeletal structure, and thus this is one frequency of vibration that should be minimized in the workplace and elsewhere. The vertical whole body resonant frequency of 113 fully clothed standing humans were measured. 113 fully clothed standing humans were measured using a vibrating beam method, which imposed a very low acceleration magnitude at the subject's feet. The overall range of the resonant frequencies was found to be from 9 to 16 hertz. So you resonate. If you're in the sound of my voice, you are resonating somewhere between 9 to 16 hertz. And independent of mass, height, and mass to weight ratio. So we just resonate at different frequencies, slight different frequencies, between 6 and 19 hertz. Now, as far as the Earth goes, the Earth has a resonant frequency of 7.83 hertz. Now, 7.83 hertz is very, very low. Or he says he always resonates. He resonates behind the Circle K with your mom. Did I say that out loud? Oh man, we're gonna have to put a note on this. I know it's gonna go off track. The Earth's heartbeat is around 7.83 hertz. And does that influence human behavior? Well, we don't know. The Schumann resonances are a set of frequencies produced by electromagnetic waves in the Earth's lower ionosphere. The frequencies created from thunderstorms and lightning range from 7.83 hertz and called the Earth's heartbeat. And they go to 33.8 hertz. The Schumann resonance gets studied all the time for its effects on the planet as well as for people. So the Earth is resonating very, very low. 7.83 hertz, just to put it in perspective, it's so low that you can't possibly hear it. And you probably can't even feel it that you know of. But there's an oscillation there. So everything resonates. And yes, there's a train going through. From people to the moon. And if you are into the hobby that I'm in, the ham radio hobby, you understand that as you're walking around, as you're looking at houses, electricity, electric wires, any kind of motor, whether it be a car motor, an EV, an electric motor, your furnace, a fan going in your house, a heater, everything has its frequencies that it's giving off. And the noise floor, and the noise floor is something we in ham radio refer to, it's static, it's white noise, and it goes up and down a lot. But if you lose complete power, which we had a year ago we had that big ice storm, just under a year ago, and power was out all over the area. I ran my ham radio stuff on a battery, and the noise floor was lowest I've ever heard. It was so low that I thought for a minute maybe my radio wasn't functioning right. Because we are a planet that thrives on electricity. Those solar panels that they want to build, which we'll talk about later on in the show, I roll my eyes as I say that. I have a couple of solar panels, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-solar. It's just I know its place. I know its vulnerabilities. I know what it can and can't do. Solar panels are notorious for throwing off frequencies and screwing you up. And there's primary, secondary, tertiary frequencies. Everything gives those off too. You know, the Baofeng radios that everybody loves to have, which a lot of people there in chat have it. They have a tendency to be dirty radios, which means you may have them and broadcasting on a frequency of, let's say 145.370. And maybe at 147.570, you may have another frequency equal or just a little bit lesser value. And then a few hundred megahertz up from that, you'll have another frequency that's a little less value, and so on, because they're dirty radios. They don't have the filtering. They don't have the caps that they should have. Now, there is a new version of the regular Baofeng UV5R. It's got a different name to it, but they swear that they've solved that problem, and they're a clean radio. And technically, the FCC should be finding people for dirty radios like that, but they don't. And I ran across a pretty good video. One of my favorite YouTubers for ham radio stuff. He's really snarky. He's really dry. And he ran a list, a total and complete list of FCC fines of 2024. There's like 4 of them. And one of them wasn't even a fine. They just sent somebody a naughty letter and said, stop doing what you're doing. So the FCC kind of ignores. I mean, you got to do something profoundly disruptive to get the FCC coming after you when it comes to giving off frequencies. But they will come after you. I mean, I wouldn't take what I'm saying for granted that, I can do anything I want. The FCC's like, they will. And when they do finally come after somebody, they usually take everything. Yes, already your radio is a dirty, dirty girl. So anyway, that's my frequency thing. Everything gives a frequency. Everything has a resonant frequency. Everything vibrates. And that's why when you hear me talk about antennas, if you ever hear me talk about antennas, I talk about resonant frequencies. I talk about tuning an antenna. And it's something that as kind of a newer ham, I'm getting into. I'm not really good at it yet, but when I do a Parks on the Air, which Parks on the Air is kind of a little, it's not really a contest. It's just a little fun thing to do. You go find a state or a federal park. You set up a portable rig, and it's kind of a off-grid type thing where you set up a portable rig and you make a bunch of contacts, and that's what they call activating the park. And there's a little website, and you get little online rewards and all kinds of stuff for activating a park and or hunting a park. And I've got tons of awards for hunting them because I can sit here behind my little desk with my little 100-watt Yaesu FT710, and I can hunt parks all day. But getting out there and actually setting up a portable rig and making making contacts, at least 10 to 12 contacts, so you are securely doing it, that's a little bit harder. But I took a lot of times I just take what they call a shark stick antenna. They call them ham sticks, shark sticks, whatever, and those are single band antennas. And I use my truck as a counterpoise. And I set it up with a magnet on top of the hood. Of course, you can't drive down the road with them because those antennas are pretty tall. They'll just flop over into the bed of the truck or bounce down the side of the road, and you will be done for the day and probably for that antenna's life. But it took several minutes, a half hour pretty much for each antenna to get the right whip length where the standing wave ratio was working in the band. And once you do that, your antenna tuner doesn't have to work that hard if it has to at all. And it's a resonant frequency, so you make a lot of contacts. You take a little bit of time up front and get these things where they're right, and you can make a lot of contacts up front. Now, this goes for your little $20 Baofangs too. If you want to make better, longer distance contacts, you can make yourself either a Yagi or a little antenna that you can hang up in a tree. A little dipole antenna you can hang up in a tree, and you can double, triple, quadruple your range on one of them little 5-watt Baofangs, whatever you want to call them, UV5Rs. That's just the way it is. Antennas, when it comes to frequencies, antennas are everything. You can have a 5-watt QRP radio. You put that baby on a really good, well-made, knowledgeable, tuned antenna, and you can get places like from Michigan to Oklahoma, Michigan to Georgia. I've done it. So, yeah, antennas are kind of my thing because all the frequencies are out there, and I like to hit them. So, and then finally, as far as frequencies go, and speaking of that, the ISS, and I've said this before on this show, has its own little ham radio set up on the International Space Station. And I have heard it several times. It's kind of a feather in the cap to actually get to speak to the astronauts while they're there. Not very many people have done it, but some people have. And it's kind of a bragging thing. They transmit on 145.800. Now, if you've got your little Baofang, you can go outside. If the ISS is coming over your area, you can track it with the ISS tracker. As it's coming over, get that little Baofang out and tune it to 145.800. And you may hear them talking. I've heard them talking to classrooms, school classes. I've heard them talking to people. I've tried to get them a few times, but the problem you have with something like the International Space Station flying over is they call the Doppler effect. It's just like when you hear a car coming down the road a motorcycle and it sounds like one tone. As it gets closer, the tone goes up, and when it goes farther away, the tone goes down. That happens with frequencies too. And the ISS will start out, I don't know, somewhere around 145, 300 or something like that, go all the way up to 145, 800 and go all the way back down to like 145, 300 or something as it goes by you. It's a Doppler effect. But you can listen to them if you're lucky enough. They're out there. And being that far up in the sky, a lot of times you can hear them many, many minutes, but you can only transmit to them, which they transmit on a different frequency. So you got to know how to get that too. And you have to have your ham radio license. It's kind of cool. Mike, that is a very legit question. Mike in chat, Big Mike, says, if your antenna broke while you were keying the mic, would it mess the radio up? There is a very good possibility that it could. Your antenna creates what they call standing wave ratio. Your antenna is tuned to throw your signal out into space, out into the ethos. When you key up your antenna, what's happening is your signal is going through the processors and all that, up the antenna and poof, out into everywhere. If your antenna snaps off while you're transmitting, and especially if you don't know it, and you are shouting like a freak in your microphone, what's happening is your full wattage of your radio is being shot back into the radio. It tries to go somewhere. It can't go anywhere, so it goes back into the radio, and you stand a very good, and this is layman's terms, it's more technical than that. You stand a very good chance of your radio burning out. That's the problem that a lot of people have with, when they put up an antenna. Yes, you can throw up a wire and you can transmit on it, but SWR is very important. Standing wave ratio is very important, because if your SWR is too high, especially anything over 3-to-1, under 3-to-1, you can damage it if you go too long. I prefer under 1.5-to-1. I'm picky. I'm very, very picky. I don't like to transmit anything under 1.5-to-1. If you have something that all of a sudden goes from 2-to-1 to 9-to-1, you can burn out your transceiver and you're done. Have a good day. Goodbye. You might as well take your $20 bowel thing, chuck it in the trash, go buy another one. It's not as painful when you have a $20 Baofeng UV5R. It's very painful when you have a $1,200 Yaesu FT710 or maybe one of the $7,000 ICOMs. Yes, so snapping antenna, very, very bad. And yes, the CB radio is a ham radio, Mike. It's basically an 11-meter radio. Some people actually call CB radios 11 meters. Because that's what they transmit on 11 meter. Right now, 10 meter and 11 meter are open. So if you have your CB radio, you can probably talk to people in Bolivia. I know I've had a 10 meter going pretty much every morning, and I've been speaking to people all over the planet because it's open right now because of the solar maximum. So there you have it. All right. Well, we've reached 28 minutes. I'm not going to drone on about ham radio anymore, but that was a legit question, Mike, and you probably do know that because if you've snapped your antenna off while you're transmitting, I got to ask you, I guess, did you kill your CB? Did it shut down, or did it just melt down, or did it overheat and turn off? What happened to it? I got to know. Hit me up in chat. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got all kinds of insanity going on around this planet, and we gonna talk about it. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a moment.
At the tender age of 3, I was hooked to a machine just to keep my mouth from spouting junk. It must have took me for a fool, cause they chucked me out of school, cause the teacher knew I had the fun.
Messing with my My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Oh, yeah. Little Thomas Dolby bringing us back in. Hyperactive. So on Wednesday, a military museum in Ohio called the police in the city of Bellevue to report an offer of a rather unusual donation. The police then sent a bomb squad to the potential donor's home. This is according to the BBC. And we think it's going to be a long time before we get another call like this, police said, referring to Elton John's iconic Rocket Man song. In a press release, police say the device is in fact a Douglas AIR-2 Genie. Previous designation MB-1, an unguided air-to-air rocket that is designed to carry a 1.5 kiloton W-25 nuclear warhead. Whoops. However, there was no warhead attached, meaning there was never any danger to the community. A Bellevue Police Department spokesman Seth Tyler told BBC News on Friday that the device was basically just a gas tank for a rocket for fuel. It wasn't a serious problem at all. In fact, the bomb squad member asked me why we were releasing a news release on a rusted piece of metal. But The call to the police came from the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force near Dayton, Ohio. The man, who does not wish to be identified and is extremely irritated by the media coverage, was not expecting a call from us, Mr. Tyler said, saying it seems the museum did not warn him they would be reporting his donation offer. He was gracious enough to let us have a look at it, and we determined that it was safe, he said. Officials never suspected a nuclear warhead might be present, meaning there was no need for mass evacuations in the city of 150,000 people. Still, says the man told police that the rocket belonged to a neighbor who had died and was originally purchased from an estate sale. Police ultimately deemed the item an artifact with no explosive hazard. Because the item was inert and the military did not request it back, police left the item with the neighbor to be restored for display in a museum. Okay, so that's nice. Where did you get that rocket from? It's an old nuclear warhead. I picked it up at an estate sale. Who had it in an estate sale? Whose estate? And what did they do with the warhead that was in it? Oh my gosh. Anyways, welcome back. This is Alan Ray. It is Sunday Night with Alan Ray, the show where we take a look in this giant blue ball that we're hurtling through space at many thousands of miles an hour, and we ask the eternal question,
what in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. Things just get weirder and weirder every day, every hour of every day. It's just kind of bizarre. You hear the news. And what you got going on right now? Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's go out. Let's chase a rabbit. You have the news, journalists doing journalisms out there. And a lot of them are getting laid off. A lot of big name news outlets are throwing people off. They're getting rid of them. They're laying them off. And they're not getting a lot of sympathy from the general public. Because quite frankly, the general public is tired of their crap. They've been caught time after time after time after time after time, shading the truth, flat out lying, spreading propaganda, calling the truth misinformation. And they staunchly defend their position. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. And they give you that deer in the headlights look. It's like, look, you've been caught several times, not just once, several times, telling flat out, blatant, intentional lies. And when you, if on the rare occasion you do issue an apology, it's on the, some little 1 inch by 1 inch square on your website, or maybe on a printed newspaper, if they even do that thing anymore. And you have no respect anymore. You have turned yourself into political shills. You have turned yourself into, pushing the extremist left meltdown du jour. The World Economic Forum and the UN's agenda. And we see you. We see you. We really, really, really see you. You're getting laid off because you're liars. You're getting laid off because you're undependable. You're getting laid off because the difference between a conspiracy theory and something becoming truth is 3 to 6 weeks. Case in point. I and several people like me have spoke about the up-and-coming 15-minute cities. 15-minute cities, They're going to give you neighborhoods. And this is how they paint the picture. I want you to listen to how they paint the picture, because they paint a beautiful picture. It's not really just like everything else the left does. In theory, it sounds pretty nice if you want to live in a city. And this is on NPR. And now this is where we've come, just to take a back step up. When we first started reporting on 15-minute cities, it was gleaned from the World Economic Forum's website. We're going to put you in cities, 15-minute cities. You will not be allowed to go outside of these 15 minutes without special permission. You will have to basically live like paupers, walk or ride bikes everywhere you go. We'll provide for you what you need. But if you want anything else, you're just not going to have to do without. And we all said, wait, we don't want to do that. And the word started getting out that they're trying to make 15-minute cities. And what were we called? We were called conspiracy theorists. And lo and behold, 15-minute cities are the plan. And if you dig just a little bit, they started actually telling you that 15-minute cities are the plan back in October of 2023. NPR, National Propaganda Radio, puts this article out here. In the 11th arrondissement, a middle to working class neighborhood. Get that, middle to working class neighborhood. A serfs. This is for the serfs. This isn't for the wealthy elites. They're going to get to fly in their big stinky jets all over the world, and they're going to eat steaks, and they're going to tell you what you can and can't do. In a middle to working class neighborhood in the east of Paris, if you walk out your front door, you can arrive at preschool in 1 minute, a bookstore in 3 minutes. Remember, she said walk, not ride, not take a car, whatever, walk. A cheese store in 4 minutes, a baguette for that cheese, well, the bakery's across the street. Grocery store and pharmacy, well, 5 minutes. Parks, restaurants, metro shops, a hospital, all within a 15-minute walk. I know this because I used to live there. This is a 15-minute city, says Carlos Moreno, a professor at University of Paris's One Pantheon Sorbonne, who met me on the banks of the Seine River. Moreno says that a 15-minute city, a person can access key things in their life, work, food, schools, recreation, within a short walk, bike, or transit ride of their home. Now, in recent years, Moreno has been helping mayors put his 15-minute city idea to use. Particularly the mayor of Paris. Paris is converting old military buildings and old parking structures into mixed-use buildings with apartments, retail, and office space. Parisian neighborhoods are opening new parks and community gardens and are expanding hours for childcare and nurseries, and the city has built more than 600 miles of protected bike lanes. What is important is creating a roadmap for the transformation of the city, a fundamental transformation of the city. Where does that sound like? You've heard that before, right? Fundamental transformation. Now, remember, a year and a half, 2 years ago, this was all conspiracy theory. We don't know what you're talking about. Nobody's trying to do this. Nobody's trying to take your gas stoves. Nobody's going to cut off the natural gas, but except they are. Every time they tell you they're not going to do something, you've just discovered what they're doing before they had an opportunity to let on what they were doing. So it ruined their plan. So they call you conspiracy theory, and then a few months later, it actually comes out that they were doing it all along, and you were right. So anyways, I digress. Now the 15-minute city idea is spreading with mayors in the United States. In Cleveland, Ohio. Ann Arbor, Michigan. We already know that. California, cities in California. We're trying to retrofit suburbia, says Michael Brilliant, Deputy Director for Citywide Planning for San Jose, California. It really is like trying to turn an ocean liner. So they are doing this. And the problem is, this is the problem they're facing. The problem they're facing is it's a great global climate solution if it can get past conspiracy theorists and not in my backyard, NIMBYs. So people don't want it, and people know about it, and it's already getting a bad rap because we know what comes next. Oh, it sounds great. I wouldn't mind being able to step out my door if I chose to live in a city, which I don't choose to walk out my door and being able to access anything I need and want within 15-minute walk. I walk 30 to 40 to 50 minutes a day. So a 15-minute walk would be great. I wouldn't mind that. Except that's just part of the plan. That's the part of the plan that looks really sexy, really nice. The part of the plan they don't tell you about is you'll have to have special permission to get out of the 15-minute cities. Now, they call that a conspiracy theory. Well, no. The problem with that is you won't be able to own a car. So if you wanted to leave your 15-minute city and drive from your nice little Cleveland, Ohio paradise and go somewhere like, I don't know, the Grand Canyon, Colorado, go to the mountains, escape from the madness. Maybe there's a pandemic and you just want to get the heck out of town. Maybe a war is starting and you want to go to your bug out shelter. Sorry, you don't own a car. We don't let you own a car because you live in a 15-minute city and you are provided for. We are the priests of the Temple of Sphinx. We will provide everything for you. Don't think, just exist. Go to your little jobs and keep the little wheels turning so that we can glean wealth from your labor. Sorry. And I guess I'm one of the not in my backyard people because, no, I don't want to live in a city. Now remember, put 15-minute cities in perspective. With what we know, we don't think, there's not a theory, they advertise it, what we know that the United Nations plan for the United States is, which is to draw everybody out of rural areas. Everybody that they can, draw them away from rural areas into dwelling areas, into living areas, into cities, where you will be cordoned off into 15-minute cities, where you will be told this is where you live your life, and you better have special permission and a lot of money to go somewhere else. In the meantime, I guarantee you, I promise you, I make this vow unto thee, that the wealthy elites, the Al Gores, the Frankenstein heads, all of these people who are flying around right now telling you how you should live are going to continue to fly in their private jets. And they're all going to meet in Davos. And they're going to look sanctimoniously at each other and say, look what we're building. We've got them where we want them. And let's make more decisions on their behalf and make them live this way because we're the powerful elites. They're not going to stop eating meat. They're going to still have steak while they're telling you how you should live. They're going to drive around in big SUVs while they tell you you can't own a car. This is not a conspiracy theory. The thing that this article for National Propaganda Radio, the thing they're bemoaning is we know what they're doing. We know, and we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it to the last tooth and nail because we don't want to be told where we can and cannot go. We don't want to be cordoned off into a little 5-neighborhood area and say that's where you're going to live your entire life. That's an open-air prison. I have no interest. Sorry. I don't care what you provide for me. If I feel like going out and eating a triple-decker hamburger, camping out in the middle of the woods under a tarp, foraging for edible vegetables out in the middle of the woods, catching a squirrel and barbecuing it, that's my business. It's not your business. I don't want to be cordoned off like an industrial farmed chicken. Well, why not? We provided everything for you because I'm not a socialist. We're looking more and more like Demolition Man. Demolition Man was not an instruction manual. It was a movie making fun of authoritarian socialists, just like what are now trying to make 15-minute cities. Moving on with the insanity. Saw this today in the twits, in the zitter, the XITTR, or whatever you call it. Los Angeles Slimes. Isn't that the same newspaper that laid off a bunch of people that everybody's crying about? This guy's bragging that he wrote this article. Sammy Roth says a single federal agency oversees nearly 250 million acres of public land, which why does the federal government own public land? And those acres could play a key role in fighting climate change by hosting vast fields of solar panels and wind turbines that limit our need to burn fossil fuels. What it boils down to is this: the Biden administration is proposing 22 million acres of land, roughly the size of Maine, We are going to raise that land. We're going to cut the trees down, cut the vegetation down, run the animals and the birds and the deer out of 22 million acres of land and put up solar panels. All in the name of the climate cult. And the moron, the absolute tool who wrote this article, agrees with it. Says, if you haven't noticed, though, global warming is fueling a whole lot of harm. Heat waves surpassing 120 degrees in Los Angeles, whatever. Falling to record lows, catastrophic mega floods, doubling in likelihood. Oh, likelihood. So they haven't happened yet, doubling in likelihood. Plants and animals are feeling the strain, too, with fast rising temperatures pushing many species towards extinction. Well, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? 22 million acres of land to put up giant, inefficient, poisonous, non-recyclable solar panels. And big, giant, oil gluttonous, concrete gluttonous, horrible for the environment, big, giant fans. These people have gone quite insane. If you don't believe me now that these people are nuts, that these people are crazy, that they've gone completely unhinged, what do I have to do to convince you? What can I possibly say to convince you that these people are nuts? It's insanity. They're going to destroy land. Destroy land. You could go there and plant trees. Find a way to hydrate the land, plant trees, grow them up, and you will do 10 times more benefit than solar panels. But no. These people are nuts. They've gone crazy. And then they sit there and they brag about how good we're doing, how good our economy is. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. It's not going well. Yeah, maybe the spreadsheets, maybe the big money makers are doing pretty good because, well, they're laying a bunch of people off that they don't have to pay for anymore. They're probably doing all right financially. Nobody else is. Case in point, not far from me. And I feel for these people because I know some of them and I've used their product more than once. But slowing sales, and this is according to WTOL 11, slowing sales in the auto industry had the potential to force layoffs at the Toledo Jeep plant. But it was averted by transfers, said the UAW Local 12 president. Now, for 46 days, Stellantis workers at the Jeep Assembly Complex were on strike. This is in Toledo, Ohio. I know right where this is. I used to drive by it all the time. One of the things they were fighting for was to make supplemental or temporary workers full-time. Stellantis agreed, allowing 900 supplemental workers to become full-time. However, only 372 of these workers are staying in Toledo at the Jeep Assembly Complex. 508 are being offered jobs in Detroit, and 20 are being offered jobs in Perrysburg. Now, backing up a little bit, the Perrysburg thing is not too bad. Perrysburg, Ohio is about 45 minutes from where I'm broadcasting from right now. There used to be a club there that everybody used to party at when we were all 18. I know how to get there real quick. A lot of high-speed roads to get there. But if you live in Toledo and you have to drive to Detroit to your job, that's over an hour job. You're right up 75 during rush hour. It seems to me that I would find another job, which is probably what these people want. So why is this happening? Well, the United Auto Workers Local 12 President Bruce Boomhauer said it's because of emissions regulations in certain states. Says there are 14 states in our country who won't allow our cars in their lots because the environmental people who want us to have full electric vehicles. Boomhauer said as a result, there has been a slowdown in sales. He added that Stellantis does not need as many workers on the assembly line building cars that can't be sold. So basically what they're saying is they're slowly putting Jeep out of business, which I find hard to believe. I don't know about the rest of the world, but every time you turn your head around here, there's a Jeep. I myself have owned 2 of them, and I miss my Jeep. I'm at the point now, folks, not even kidding, that when my F-150 finally gives up the ghost, I'm thinking about going out west somewhere where it's dry and finding me a mid-70s Jeep, spending about $5,000 having it completely restored and just driving it like it's a new car. I have no interest in buying new cars these days. I really don't. So basically, these people who worked in Toledo now have to either transfer out of their factory, which I'm guessing, a lot of them live a couple minutes away. That's out of their 15-minute city range. I mean, they're not going to be able to walk there. So they have to get up in the morning and drive to Perrysburg, which is a parking lot between, Toledo and Perrysburg, or drive up 75 all the way to Detroit, which, oh my God, I would hate to do. 3rd-generation 4Runner, already I wouldn't mind that either. The only reason I like Jeeps is because I know how to work on them. And there's a lot of things on old Jeeps that you can duct tape and put a hose clamp on and get you where you need to be. So you just get the feeling that although it is bragged about by the current administration, things aren't really going that great. And it kind of shows in a certain current president's panicked last-ditch effort to try very hard to, right some wrongs that he knows he's done. Like right now, he's finally going to East Palestine, Ohio. 1 year after Norfolk Southern freight train derailed in the heart of East Palestine, Ohio. The wounds in this working-class town are still running deep. This is according to NBC News, which NBC News lately doesn't even try to hide the fact that they're shills for the Democrat Party. They interviewed one person that says she only drinks bottled water, refusing to believe claims from Norfolk Southern that the Environmental Protection Agency that the water in the town is safe to drink. They don't believe it. Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw says that while a lot of progress has been made in the area, much more needs to be done. See, nobody trusts them. And now the president's talking about going there. I would run him out of town. I wouldn't let him go there. If he went there, they should just run him right out of town. They should just gang up. And the funny thing is he was in Warren. And it's really funny. Biden went back to Warren, Michigan.
Hello, Michigan. It's good to be back.
And what Biden was met with is angry Palestinians. I don't know how many of them were Palestinians, but they were protesting him. They were all over him. They were trying to get to him. This is going to be an interesting, very interesting election. Because right now, as it stands, and I'll let Rowdy Rick Robinson coming up after me expand on this. Right now, he's losing the black vote because all of the illegal aliens are moving into towns like Boston, Chicago, etc. And they're taking all of the things that were set aside for the black community. They're stealing them right out from under them. And these people know, and they're not happy. He's losing the people who have faced catastrophes. He's losing their vote because he's worthless. He's losing the vote of the people who live on the border because he didn't do anything about the border, and now the governor of Texas is having to do something about it. He seems to be hemorrhaging. How are they going to fix it? You know they're going to lie to people. You know they're going to shame them. They're going to say, well, if you don't vote for us, you're killing babies and you're killing grandma, and the earth is going to melt and blow up. And these stupid suckers are going to fall for it. Folks, that's my show tonight. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Alan Ray. This is Sunday Night with Alan Ray. Stay tuned for America Off the Rails with Rowdy Rick Robinson, who's joined us down here in the slums of Sunday nights. We're welcoming them. We love them. Keep it locked on KLRN Radio all week long for the best in podcasting and entertainment. And next Sunday, Lord willing, I'll be back. Same bat time, same bat place. We'll talk again later. God bless. We'll see you soon.
If you wanna cool, yes, if you wanna look cool, you got to run on heavy, heavy fuel. Heavy, heavy